So this is my final reflection on the work that I've done over the course of the last few months for EDU 584 and my contributions to my group as well as my individual work as well. And I'm just going to let you know that this reflection is about to get really honest really quick. Um, so a couple things that I just want to start out with is that I appreciate the patience and understanding, not only of my professor, but of the people that I was working with in my group. Because I know I have had several absences from the face to face classes, which I know was detrimental for me. But also, even before then, kind of found myself trying to balance a project based course along with trying to effectively teach students on a daily basis. And I didn't always find that easy, um, with no reflection on the course at all. It was just my ability to balance both of them, along with a few other scenarios that kind of gotten thrown my way throughout the semester. So I appreciate everyone's patience. So that is number one. My strengths that I took away from this project was that even though I didn't follow a time, this was kind of a strength and a challenge, but even though I didn't follow the timeline exactly, I knew with the data that I had collected that I felt like I could still provide a strong project in a timely fashion. And so I felt like individually that was a strength that I had, a strength in terms of my group. Uh, I have to be honest, I don't know if I was a huge help to my group. I don't think I was. And I feel badly about that. And I do feel like I I communicated that I was not on pace with my project, with my group, so I was kind of lagging behind a little bit and well, a lot sharing with my project with them, asking for feedback, and then I was really only able to contribute um, to one person to some feedback on one person's project. Um, two people out of the four had shared their project with myself and a few others. I was only able to comment on one, and then there was another person who also wasn't ready for feedback yet. So um, I wished I could have responded to both people, and that would have made me feel a little bit better about my participation. Um, I do feel like when I do have the time and go through and look at someone's project and respond, I do feel like I try really hard to make sure I am giving them valuable feedback. So I think that could be a strength. I just think the timeliness in which I've been able to do that, and I think that has been a challenge, and a challenge not only for me receiving feedback from them, but also for my group receiving feedback from me. So when I was presented with a challenge, though, my biggest thing was that I wanted to make sure that I communicate. Communication is a huge piece for me. So whether I had to communicate with my professor or had to communicate with my group, that was my one of my biggest things, is that somebody always kind of knows what page I'm on, and even if it's you know kind of way behind where I'm supposed to be, I just want people to know like where I'm at, what my plan is, and how I plan on moving forward. So um, I think pretty much everyone else was fully participated in my group. So in order to encourage that, there were a couple emails to kind of remind people, hey, just in case you haven't heard about this, like, could you respond to blah blah blah? And I did send a couple of those emails out as well. if I didn't hear back from someone, within a few days. I mean, obviously, we all have jobs and we all have lives, but um, I think we all need that little extra email reminder once in a while, so that's okay. Um, yes, this question. So, how do you effectively communicate with a peer or colleague that is not participating? Well, that's me. So, I don't know how people effectively communicated with me. My group, like I said, they were very patient. They reached out. They did send a couple of reminder emails. And like I said, I was able to give feedback to um, one out of the two other group members who were ready to receive feedback. Um, but I wish I could have done that for both. So that was a little, a challenging piece for me. But how do you effectively communicate with a peer that's not participating? Well, I think that, you know, asking them if they need help, if there's anything that you can do to encourage them to um, participate or to move along, or, in some way. I think that's how I would communicate with a peer that was not participating, I guess. But, I think that my group was very understanding and um, encouraging for me. And how do you hold yourself or others accountable? Well, I think that's hard sometimes. I think even as a leader, that's hard. Um, you want to be patient and you want to be understanding, but there is a point where you have to drop the hammer and kind of, let people know that there's a deadline, and in a nice way, and let them know that, I've given you an extension, or I've given you a certain amount of time to complete something and you still haven't done it. So unfortunately, like there is a deadline that needs to be met. Um, I try to hold myself accountable to be honest, with lists. I'm a very visual, listy kind of person. So for me, that's what works. And I feel very successful when I can take a highlighter and cross something off my list. So for me, that's the best way to hold myself accountable in within a project, in daily life, anything, and to hold others accountable. Like I said, I think that for me, the biggest thing is just communication and just checking in. Um, so for the workshop group, I had a totally different group of people that I worked with. And, we, in that part of the project, I have to say that I feel like I contributed, and so did all of my workshop members as well. But that I felt like I did I did actually participate as much as I wanted to. And we did two different Google Hangouts, which is really awesome. And, we were encouraging for each other and things like that. But, I think communication for me is just really a way to hold people accountable and let them know that, you can be patient up to a certain extent. And I'm speaking from a leadership role. Um, but I think that, at the end of the day, it is fair and it's okay to, have to hold people accountable, because as a leader, that's maybe not always the most fun part of your job, but it's something that needs to be done. So, um, again, this project, and working with group members, and between the regular reflection groups and then workshop groups and then the individual aspects of the project, I think they were all beneficial. I just wish my challenge, my wish was that I had more time to devote to really reading through other people's reflection and providing feedback for them as well as their project, and also being able to receive feedback on my own project from some really bright and intelligent professional teachers out there. So um, that's what I would have hoped for, and sometimes things don't always work out that way, but I am really proud of my project and I'm excited to share that. So hopefully those that get to take a look at it are just as happy as I am. Thank you.